Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G Guerrieri. I'm David Ellis. Glad you're out and about. And you know, it is getting to be that time of day. Those hunger pangs you get about this time of day. It's time for a little supper, and there is none better than Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. Whether you're looking for brisket or some pork ribs, pork loin, baby back ribs, pulled pork, your turkey, you name it. And it is getting that time where that time of the year with the where that stew,
that green chili stew.
Yeah, chopped green chili stew.
It's getting cooler. It was only 94 today, so it's cooling off.
Look, that may have to pass for fall. Okay, so
it is fall.
Anyway, it that stuff is it's that time of year, and I have, as far as I'm concerned, October 1st. I'm eligible to eat that, so I'm just saying. Well, the Aggies went on the road for the first of their two SEC games last week, went into Starkville, Mississippi to take on Mississippi State and came away with a 1-0 win, and then came back to College Station. And it was, we'll get into that in a little bit more detail, but Mississippi State has to be one of the hardest teams to play in the conference. I mean, they are just, I don't know what it is about them. You can explain it later, but they are just it is a grind. And then the Aggies came back and played the Arkansas Razorbacks at the time, number 11 ranked Arkansas Razorback, now number 7 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks, and played them off the field in the first half and early part of the second half, and ended up losing just an absolute heartbreaker, 1-0. The Aggies bounced the ball off the post, off of the crossbar, missed some easy chip-ins, and I'm just explaining what happened. I'm not trying to get you wound up. Okay?
No. You're explaining it pretty well.
I mean, just absolutely. It's one of the best games the Aggies have played this year, I thought, for good parts of the game. Mm-hmm. And you guys, I want to talk about. We'll go back and talk about Mississippi State first, G. But I wanted to. You guys had I want to be sure that you mentioned kind of the different approach y'all took in terms of the formation, the shape y'all used in the middle of the field, particularly against Arkansas, because it was. I thought it was a very, very good strategic move on the coaching staff's part. All right, back to Mississippi State and Starkville, Mississippi. The Aggies came away with a victory with a penalty kick by Sam Smith, her third goal of the year in the 83rd minute. As
who's it just walked into the building?
Okay, all right. She's not a guest tonight, but we can put you on. But I think she's had enough of that. But came in and banged a PK almost through the back of the net when Miley Hayes got taken down. But your thoughts on the Mississippi State game?
Well, when I saw the schedule that the SEC had put out, be honest, I was like, that's a tough week when you see that you've got to go with Mississippi State and Arkansas in about a 4-day span, because they're two of the more physical. They're the two most physical teams in the league,
right?
And
number 1 and number 2 in fouls,
correct. And and Texas A&M is, we have a reputation of being probably the most finesse, the team that has the highest reputation of being a finesse team that, doesn't like to, mix it up as much as the rest. So, usually that means the advantage goes with those physical, in-your-face type of teams, Mississippi State and Arkansas. So, really hats off to our players, because one of the phrases that Phil was using with the team this year, Associate Head Coach Phil Stevenson was using with the team is, you're going to have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that's easier said than done. And for our players in the first half in Stark Vegas, we were uncomfortable, and Mississippi State was putting a lot of pressure on us, was in our face, and it was difficult for us. We only got one shot in the first half, and we were just off, and we weren't quite able to kind of put anything together. Mackay and McDonald had our only shot in the game, and even that was a little off balance because we were just constantly on our heels to an extent. Now at the same time they didn't have any chances either because I thought our defense was really solid the whole night, and our midfield did well enough defensively, but we just couldn't quite get our rhythm going because we were off balance. So to give Phil a lot of credit, we changed our shape of the way that we were playing. We didn't have to necessarily change our personnel, but we wanted to change the shape of what we were doing to kind of match up with them because we thought our players could handle it just as long as we had better matchups. And so we went to more of we matched up a little bit more with what they were doing in the midfield, and that changed the game. And we were able to, now all of a sudden there wasn't so much shifting going on with the way that we were playing to deal with them. Now they had to deal with us.
Yes, and you went from one shot in the entire first half to 6 shots in the second half.
Correct. And it shifted the way the game was being played. Then, of course, you throw in the fact that they fouled Miley on a break, and it ended up being a straight red card. Now that gives us the man advantage. So now the fact that they were putting so much pressure on us, okay, well now they can still try to put a lot of pressure on us, but we have a one-player advantage, and so that completely changed the game. Now all of a sudden we had a little bit more time. And we're a passing team, so now we could find the open player, we could find the open spaces. It opened us up. We were able to move the ball, found the open player in the box. They foul Miley in the penalty area, and penalty kick is called, and I called Sammy's name to take the kick. She took the ball from the player who had it and sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. Went ahead and put it in the upper 2 inches of the goal,
right,
just to be sure anyway. And one of the better penalty kicks you'll ever see. It's not going to be saved by anybody. And then we were able to kind of kill the game off, play really smart at the end, and a really professional finish to the way the game ended.
And I don't know what it is about playing Mississippi State, but every time we go over there, it seems to be, I get this feeling, more there than when we play Mississippi State here, but it feels more like just it's a battle. I mean, it is just a bar, just a war, with
a bar fight.
A bar fight, yeah, that's what I was going to say. But you just you feel like that when the game's over with. It's just like a slugfest.
A little bit, and of course, and
I don't mean
they got a corner kick.
They got
a corner kick with like 30 seconds to go, and it's like, of course they're going to get a corner kick with 30 seconds to go, and they're going to lob it in there. And Grace McClellan, who had the starting goal, is one of our guests here in the next segment, was there in the near post to make the save and sealed it off there at the end. Really, but the only save she really had to make the whole night was great. Quinn Cornog stepped in because our fastest defender is Carolyn Calzada. She went down with an ankle injury, and so Quinn stepped in to play on the back line. Quinn did a really good job and sealed things off for us. We were going to kind of give Quinn a little bit of a break on that night because we knew Quinn was going to be huge for us on Sunday night when the Hogs came to town. Well, Quinn ended up having to be huge on both nights, and she was terrific on both nights.
And then the Aggies take on Arkansas.
So Arkansas, by the way, on Thursday night hosted number 5 Alabama in Vietnam and absolutely shredded Alabama. Alabama comes in number 5 in the country and just gets their hats handed to them. 5-0 by Arkansas.
Yeah, it was 3-0 after 15 minutes.
Yeah, and absolutely got it handed to them. And so here comes Arkansas into College Station on Sunday night, kind of riding this wave of just dismantling the defending champions in the SEC Final Four team from last year. And and we talked again. We talked about we're going to have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable because that's the way Arkansas plays, and the team really stepped up to the challenge. We changed our shape again to deal with what they do.
Yeah, you went to a box midfield Explain that a little bit, because I thought that was I thought it worked incredibly well against the Razorbacks.
Well, again, I think Phil was really smart in the way, looking at the way they play and how we had to play, and Taylor Pounds was instrumental in how we were going to be able to deal with them. Franklin, who's their key player in the middle of the field, is really good in the air. So we needed Georgia Leb and we needed Taylor Pounds to be really strong, and so having the two of them as holding midfielders was going to be key for us, and then having it to where our attacking midfielders could break out but still help centrally, but break out and find spaces wide, and then having our wide players. We couldn't have done this earlier in the year. The only reason we were able to do this now is because of the development of Adi Armenta as a wide defender, and the development of Macy Matula to be able to understand the spaces in front of them and the range that those two have to be able to go forward. 6 weeks ago, definitely a year ago, Adi was in high school a year ago, but Macy wasn't ready for that. But those two have developed at such a rate. The last time we played this, our wide midfielders were pretty sophisticated wide players. You had Jimena Lopez was Mexican full national team player, was our left back. So yeah, we had the players to be able to play that system. Well, we were able to do it with a junior and a freshman to be able to do it against Arkansas, and both of those players had terrific nights. I mean, our back four,
I thought they were brilliant.
Were fantastic.
And to give you an idea about how good your midfield and your back four were, Arkansas's top three scorers: B. Franklin, Anna Pottegill, and Morgan White. Okay, They're top three scorers. Between the three of them, they had one shot.
Yep,
that was it. Shut down B. Franklin, shut down Morgan White, and except for one shot that Anna Pottegill took, which was not on frame.
All-American.
Yeah, an All-American. That's the kind of job that I thought your central midfield, the midfield and the back four really did. They were just outstanding, and we got beat on a goal from Kennedy Ball, a defender, a freshman, that she kind of snuck one in through a crowd. And
a ball that was kind of was hit through, and it kind of went between Grace, goalkeeper, and Margot, who kind of went to clear it and kind of pull back, and it kind of went it's like it had eyes to get into a really small space. So, and really it was a half chance by them. If you look at we have a statistic called XG, which is expected goals, and this is an unheard of statistic against Arkansas, because Arkansas is known for creating a lot of expected goals. Their expected goals were 0.57. Our expected goals were 2.36, and they won 1-0. So it's soccer. Soccer happens sometimes.
Yep, and there's a great phrase for that. We got soccered, and that's
and
exactly
unfortunately, that's the way a lot of our games have been this year.
Yes.
And it's why right now we're a little bit on the outside looking in, because we've had this game, the Washington State game, the Baylor game, and the TCU game. All four of those games that could have, should us, that we didn't, that we had opportunities to win that we didn't, and now we still have 7 great opportunities ahead of us, but we got to start turning these things to our favor.
Yes, but here's the opportunities that are before the Aggies, and I'll admit to you, Sunday night, man, I just it was like a gut punch, and I felt that way yesterday, and then today when I started to get ready for the show, I kind of looking at, okay, who do we have left, and what are their RPIs? You've got Alabama, number 11, Tennessee, number 15, South Carolina, number 25, LSU, number 34, Vanderbilt, number 39, Ole Miss, number 54, and Auburn, number 95. All of those teams, we're going to benefit. We need to win games, but what I'm saying is the opportunity is there.
Well, and I think what the players saw in themselves. Mississippi State was number 7. when we just beat them on Thursday.
Right.
And Arkansas is number 5 right now. We know we can beat anybody.
I know.
And
that's all we got to do.
We can also beat ourselves.
Yes, we can.
And
we
so
just got to start.
We
got to stop banging balls off the post and off the crossbar. That's what we've got to do. And I'm just being Captain Obvious here, but that's nonetheless.
But it starts on Friday. Friday night, 7 o'clock, when Ole Miss comes to town, which is a team that's ranked ahead of us. So it's a real opportunity for us. And got a couple players that we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes.
Absolutely. One of our favorite parts of the show is coming up right after this break, and that's when we have some players up here, and we'll be joined tonight by Grace McClellan and Eloise Descheneaux. They will both be up here in just a second. But in the meantime, it's a great opportunity for you to come on by Rudy's Barbecue, eat a little barbecue, talk a little soccer with these Aggie players and with Coach G. And while you're getting in the left turn lane to head on over here, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour, coming to you live from Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. We are back at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. It's the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. Glad you are out here and glad you are listening. And if you're out and about, like we said, it is time to get some barbecue for dinner. And, you know, one of the things that we always do here, Grace, I didn't know that you weren't aware of this, but it makes it even better, is that we always get the new kids on the block to read the Rudy's Barbecue Reader. Now, you're in grad school. You're an academic All-American from your undergrad days. So just for goodness sakes, I mean, we've been doing this now for a good while. And we've had a lot of players, and we have never had anybody mess it up. Okay?
Uh-oh.
So don't, no pressure or anything. Just don't mess this up. Okay? You got to sell barbecue. All right. Go.
Soccer and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood. Rudy's smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com.
There you go.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
Good.
Another
There
winner. All right. Well, Eloise, a sophomore here at Texas A&M, didn't see any action during her red shirt freshman year. Came in and got an assist earlier this year. And Eloise went to IMG Academy, right, down in Bradenton, Florida. But you were originally from where?
Great Falls, Virginia. It's like Northern Virginia.
How did you end up down at IMG in Bradenton, Florida, which, by the way, is not far from one of my favorite places that my wife and I have gone on vacation, Anna Maria Island.
Oh, yeah. Love Anna Maria.
But
great place.
how did you end up there?
So I actually lived in Florida when I was in like 1st, 2nd, and then 4th and 5th grade. And I just kind of moved back and forth. But my brother also went to IMG. So when COVID hit, like, it just sounded like the right place to go to. Like, we were familiar with it, and we just wanted to live at the beach and be close to it.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal.
So, and don't you have an uncle, somebody that's an Aggie in your family?
Yeah, my dad went here. My
Okay.
brother went here. My grandpa was a professor here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of Ags.
One or two Aggies.
Yeah, one or two
Yeah.
of them. Okay. And what did he teach?
Something with the airplanes or I don't know.
Aeronautical engineering.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, something with the airplanes. Okay. And what are you doing in grad school?
Grad school?
Excuse me, with your undergrad?
Oh, I'm an accounting major.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good with numbers then.
I like to think so.
Are you going to become a CPA? What are you planning on doing?
That's the goal. That's the goal, yeah.
Cool. Well, you'll be making a lot of money. You'll have a lot of money to count if you do
I hope
that.
so.
based on what we pay them. All right, and I've noticed, and you've got one here tonight. In the stands, you seem to have your own cheering section. Mm-hmm. Is that the case?
Always, yeah.
Who is in that? Who is in that group?
That's Sammy. That's my roommate.
Sammy's on the field.
Oh, Yeah.
I'm talking about during the game.
Oh.
Don't you have kind of your own?
Yeah,
cheer?
but there's like a lot of Eloise fans everywhere.
Yeah, I know, and I've noticed that. And you're waving to people up there.
Am I? Oh gosh.
I'm just saying, I've noticed that.
She's kind of famous.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, like
famous.
Shea Groom is a big fan, and Kay Jo Spizak, those are fans. These are like
Yeah.
Hall of Famers that are fans of Eloise. So she's got some influential fans.
Okay, all right. And of course, to my immediate left is Grace McClellan, originally from Southside, Alabama, which is around Birmingham, right? You told me.
An hour north of Birmingham.
An hour north of Birmingham, and then you signed with LSU originally, and then redshirted basically the first year, and then went to Kaiser, which is in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Yes.
Boy, that's rough duty.
It was nice. It was nice being in West Palm.
Won a national championship,
Yes.
All-American, academic All-American. I mean, you've done okay for yourself, right?
I had a really great experience at Kaiser. It was, played a lot, learned a lot, and made some really great memories there.
And now you are a grad student at Texas A&M doing what?
I'm studying entrepreneurial leadership in the Mays Business School.
Tell me about that.
Well, I'm learning a lot. My undergrad was in exercise science, so learning a lot about business, and I love it.
Do you really?
Yeah.
How much?
Really love it.
How different have you found grad school than being an undergrad? I mean, you were always smart enough. It wasn't any big deal to you, but to somebody like me, it is.
It's just different. It's like I'm only in 3 classes, which is nice. So I think it's a little lighter.
But in grad school, 9 hours is pretty much a full load.
Yes, it is. But classes are more interactive. I really like that. And but yeah, it's challenging me for sure, learning all about business. But it's really, really interesting.
So Eloise, I want to go back to you when they called your number to go out on the field first time this season. Were you did you have the jitters a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. But
Did you?
it was such a surreal moment, dream come true.
And gets an assist?
Yep.
I mean, did you celebrate that a little bit?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Jazz hit an insane goal, so that was all her. But
well, you should have, because it was a great effort on your part. It was a great assist on your part that led to a goal. And so I've got to ask you as well. First time you walked out, well, you got in for part of a game earlier, right?
Well, she started 2 games.
Started 2 games, but that first time, yeah, that's right. Your very first time you played, you started. That's right. My bad. A little nervous on your part when you walked out there?
Not really, honestly. I feel really, really comfortable with this team.
See, that's a typical goalkeeper answer too. I mean, you got to believe in, as a goalkeeper. If you don't believe in yourself, you're pretty much toast from the get-go, right?
Yeah, you got to believe in yourself. You do. Yeah. So I feel really comfortable with the girls. They work so hard, and communication's a big thing for me. So, I just get a lot of confidence from communicating with them, and gives me a sense of control back there. So.
G, why don't you kind of tell us how it was that you found out about these 2 ladies and they ended up at Texas A&M?
Well, with Grace came to us through the transfer portal,
right?
And so you hear all kinds of stories about the transfer portal. So Grace initially had emailed us, but had emailed us while she was still playing and the season was going on, and just kind of said, I'm going to be graduating. And we were like, okay. And so, but the season we were still all in season. So we just kind of kept things on the back burner. And as kind of the year went on, we just kind of kept in touch and kind of, kept tabs on what all had happened and what all was going on. And then as the year progressed, then, we kind of, kept those lines of communication open, and then finally, reached out to her, made more communication, and finally brought her in for a visit in the spring. And as I say, the rest is history. To bring her in, had a chance to finally get some time with her. And when we finally met her, we're like, okay, this is a big personality. This is someone who we think can really help us out. And like as they say, the rest is history. We were able to convince her to come to A&M.
Eloise, what about you? How did you end up at Texas A&M and G? I want you to kind of tell that story, if you will, first before Eloise.
Well, with Eloise was at IMG, and with Eloise, because we didn't see Eloise and IMG play that much because she played in a different league than we usually see. We usually see mostly ECNL games, and Eloise plays in the Girls Academy League, which is what IMG mostly plays in. And so friends of ours who coach at IMG, some really close friends that we really trust, were the ones who were contacting us about Eloise. And we're like, okay, well, we need to come and see, what it's all about. And so as we basically were just kind of, coming and looking at her and checking out more things about her, and then finally got a chance to see her play in California. She, a kid from Florida, I got to see in California of all things. So
Sure.
went and saw her there, and then finally went out to Florida, saw her there, and met with the family there. Talked with them a couple times. We just kind of started, developing relationships there, and eventually had a chance to, kind of start those relationships and talking about them coming and being a part of the program.
Well, we're glad both of you came here, that's for sure. But we have questions from the audience.
Oh, gosh.
No math.
Wonder who it could be.
Yeah, so it comes from your roommate,
Weird.
Sammy Smith.
What a
Heard of
small
her.
world.
Yeah, small world. So she wants to know, Eloise, what is your favorite thing about living with Sammy?
Oh, there's too many. Oh gosh, she makes really good cookies.
There you go.
Sammy the baker comes out
Sammy the
again.
baker.
You didn't bring any?
Sam.
So much for that.
Man.
Yeah, all right.
Come on, Sammy.
All
Get it
right.
right.
Grace,
Yes.
question for you as well. What is your favorite thing about A&M besides Sammy?
Oh,
Man.
good one, Sam. Good one.
That's a hard question. Sammy?
You're a grad student. Nothing is supposed to be hard for you. Come on.
No, I just love the team, honestly. Being
Yeah.
part of the team, all the
Yeah.
girls, just the environment. And yeah, it's just, I love the team, going to practice every day with them and playing with them. Yeah.
Well, we are glad that both of you ended up here at Texas A&M and looking forward to very, very successful careers, not just on the field, but off the field as well. And thank you both. I know you guys are very, very busy, and I thank you both for taking time to come by and visit with us tonight. Grace McClellan and Eloise Descheneaux. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this break. You're listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour from Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. All right, we are back at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. If you're out and about trying to still sort out what you're going to have for dinner, well, they're just sitting here waiting on you right now. We got a good crowd here tonight. You can come on out and have some great Rudy's Barbecue and visit with Coach G. And we had a couple of questions that I wanted to get to first in this segment, if we can. Are there any roster limits in the SEC or the NCAA tournament as far as how many players can be on the sidelines?
During the regular season, there's not a limit so much on the sideline. There's a limit on how many you can play in the match. You can play 22 players during an NCAA match. We have a roster. A travel limit of 24 is our SEC limit. I believe that's the number you're allowed to use in your match. I think it's 22 to 24. We typically don't use. Well, that's how many healthy players we have anyway.
Right.
So you won't see us go over that as things go. But yeah, there is absolutely a limit. It's a hard limit, and it's fluctuated over the years. But
Okay.
we to be honest, we try to keep our team right around that limit anyway.
Right.
There's a lot of teams out there that have really gigantic rosters. And
Speaking of Arkansas,
for example, Arkansas has How many players on their team?
35, 36.
Yeah, and they go through, and there'll be a lot of those kids that aren't here next year.
Well, the thing that drives me nuts, and this is just, I'm very selfish. I'm admittedly being very, very selfish, but I prepare these roster cards, right? And they have to be, as the years have gone on, I need the font to be bigger. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's happening, but at any rate, the font has to be bigger, and it's gotten to the point where I can get like 25 on there, but I can't get 35, and I don't know which 10 they're leaving at home, and so I have to guess. And anyway, Arkansas is one of those, as was Florida for a long time.
Yeah, and I just believe in trying to treat every one of these kids as important as the next one.
Right.
And when you're only traveling some of them and not traveling the other ones, then you're not treating them the same way. Now,
right.
If a player is injured, then you shouldn't. I don't think you should travel that player because there's no way that she's going to be playing, and it's a lot of times if they're on crutches and stuff like that, it's more of a pain in the neck. It's not good for them anyway.
And they can be here working with the athletic trainers to get better.
Correct. So that's an extenuating circumstance. So a lot of these rosters that have 35 to 40 kids on the team, which is basically just to put more female. That's a manipulation of gender equity numbers, and that's not what we're about. We're about treating women the right way. And we want these athletes to be treated the right way. And so we look at how many players are going to help us to win, and what's the right number to keep on our roster, and we try to keep it as close to what that travel number is. And that's what we try to keep our roster to be.
Okay. Another question has to do with COVID eligibility. Mm-hmm. Is anyone who played in the fall of 2020 going to be eligible for a COVID year?
So the 2020 season did not count against people's eligibility. So players who were freshmen in 2020, which would be Taylor Pounds, would be an example of that class, and I believe. Was Kate Colvin a freshman in that particular year?
I think she was.
Kate Colvin was, and Lauren Gessick was. So those three would be the three players that would be seniors that could come back for a COVID year next year.
Okay. All right.
Those would be the three.
Okay. We've got great talent on this team. We really do. And when we go through a situation like we went through against Arkansas, and I've had trouble earlier in other times of the year where we can't find the back of the net. We're banging balls off of posts and off of crossbars. Kind of what do you do to fix that?
Well, we try to train as much as we can in front of goal. And we look at. So what we're talking about right now, obviously, is you've got to try to get the players out of their own head.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And you've got to, you've got to try to get them to relax, because you look at, if you've got the yips in golf, it's usually because you're too tight, and because
that was what I was going to equate it to.
You're thinking about it too much, and you've got to try to relax and just kind of get back into the flow of your game. And so getting back into, putting our players into those situations, but getting them to relax and just get into the flow of the game, and putting balls in giving them the same type of service that they're going to see in games, and the same type of angles in crowds, and then kind of breaking down, like dissecting what the situations are, and then putting them back into those situations again. So deconstruct it and then reconstruct it at slow to fast, and then and building up their confidence that they can do it.
I think your analogy about golf is so very true. I've gone through periods. This latest period's lasted about 40 years, but I've gone through periods where you stand over a 3-foot putt, and you just know you're going to miss it. It gets in your head,
right?
And you have to get out of it. You've got to just sit there and for me, at any rate, I go by a saying of a very good friend of mine that I worked with, who that we used to tell our grad students, when you ain't thinking too good, it's best not to think too much. And so I have to kind of get out of that, and just go, okay, you can do this, you can do this, and you start to build on that, where you get comfortable, like you say, you get out of your own head.
That's right, and easier said than done.
It is absolutely. All right, let's talk about.
I tell you what, before you even talk about these games, let's talk a little bit about the game on Sunday. On Friday.
Yes,
because it is Turn It Gold, and I know we have just a second, but we have up here. Those of you who are here, we are going to be selling the replica jerseys. These jerseys are going to be $15 if you're watching on Facebook, and if you follow us with the I'll show that here. These are $15. These are replica jerseys of what the girls are going to be wearing on Friday night. You can buy these in the stadium. We also have a scarf, which is here on the front of the show. These are $10, which you can buy in the stadium. These are going to sell out because they sell out every year at the game. And then we're also going to be selling the jerseys that the girls are going to wear. Those are going to be up for auction. Those are the Adidas jerseys that are going to be up for auction. You can get all of these things at 12thman.com/turnitgold. All of that stuff is available, 12thman.com/turnitgold. So I wanted to just get that off my chest. So go.
No, and I was just going to remind everybody that these proceeds go to help in the fight against pediatric cancer.
That's right.
And A&M, the Aggie soccer team specifically, has a long-time relationship with the Turn It Gold Foundation. And those funds
started by two Aggie moms.
Yes,
and it's all about just because there's breast cancer awareness is hugely funded, and there's nothing wrong with funding breast cancer, the fight against breast cancer, but it is 100 to 1 as far as the money that goes into that fight compared to what goes into juvenile cancer, and we need to do whatever we can to try to fight cancer in kids, and that's
Absolutely.
what we're trying to do.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, our final one of the night, come back for the final segment and talk about some of the results last week in the SEC, as well as games coming up this week, and a little bit about Ole Miss. You are listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour, live from Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. All right, we are back. It's the sprint to the finish, the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri, coming to you live from Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. I want to say one more time before we move on, these jerseys right here, these replica jerseys, that's what the girls are going to be wearing on Friday night against Ole Miss, and they're $15. These really nice scarves down here are $10, and you can only get those at the game. Okay, you've turned into a jersey model, Coach, and you're doing very, very well at it.
Yeah, thank you. Hand model.
Yeah, hand model. That's right. You need your oven mitts. Mm-hmm. So you can only get those again at the game. Okay, now the game worn jerseys. The jerseys that the girls will wear on Friday night, those will go on auction starting on September 21st. Well, so they're already started, and then that auction will run until October 2nd at noon. October 2nd at noon. The auction will then be shut off, and the jerseys that were worn that game will be awarded to the highest bidder. Now, but that's not it. Fans who are wearing gold when they come to the game on Friday night, a discounted $3 admission to the match. So a heck of a deal on tickets. Just wear something gold. And then it's going to be $5 beer night.
There you go.
Lone Star Light's going to be available for purchase at the Ellis Field concession stand for $5. So heck of a deal. Great soccer. You can get in for $3 wearing something gold. And then you have an opportunity to buy one of these Turn It Gold jerseys and one of the scarves, and to bid on Turn It Gold jersey. And again, all you have to do is go to 12thman.com/turnitgold. 12thman.com/turnitgold. And do your part in the fight against juvenile cancer. All right, if you look at last week's results, some interesting results. You mentioned one already on Thursday night. Arkansas just hammering Alabama 5-0. Got on the front foot early, scored 3 goals in 15 minutes, and it was all over. And I used one of the worst, not really an analogy, I don't know what it was during the broadcast. I'm going to tell you what it is. But after Kentucky, tied South Carolina, and then on Sunday,
Well, Kentucky tied South Carolina, and how they do that? They kept South Carolina from taking any shots.
yeah, none, 0, zip, nada.
Yeah.
And then they played Florida. They went to Florida on Sunday and tied Florida 1-1. So they finally scored a goal. But I said during the broadcast, and I apologize for this, I said that Kentucky had more ties than a businessman's closet.
There you go. There you go.
And Jeff, my broadcast partner, just stopped and looked at me and just kind of shook his head, and I think was embarrassed for me and embarrassed about me.
I don't know if it went over any better with the live audience here.
It didn't really.
One of the other epic results from last Thursday, Georgia playing at home was up 2-0 and lost to LSU in a furious comeback. The LSU Tigers come back and win 3-2 against number 22 Georgia, which was pretty amazing. Georgia then beat Mizzou on Sunday 2-1. Kadani, the coach for UGA, got his 200th career win in that particular game. Tennessee with a win on really Tennessee with 2 wins on Florida on Thursday, and then with a draw against South Carolina on Sunday. South Carolina, 2 draws on the week. So, South Carolina went into the week ranked number 7 in the nation,
right.
kind of sputtering a little bit, but they're still highly ranked. They're
15.
They're still up there, doing really well for the SEC in the country. They're going to come here later in the year. That's
Yes.
going to be our senior night, I think, on October 19th. So, the other game that I found to be really interesting was LSU then getting the win against Mississippi State 2-1. I thought
right.
Mississippi State had a 2 1-goal losses on the week, and they went into the week number 7 in the country, and then they take 2 tough losses to A&M and to LSU.
Right.
So
that game was in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, so they're reeling just a little bit. Now they're gonna play Tennessee this weekend. So those 3 tough games in a row for the Dogs. So this week, some interesting games. Arkansas goes to Mizzou on Thursday night. I guess that game is going to be the televised game on the SEC network. And then Friday, everybody else plays. Vanderbilt with a game at Georgia. That game's going to be at 5 o'clock. Florida at LSU at 6. South Carolina at Auburn. Auburn is the team that's kind of an interesting side. They've kind of struggled scoring goals, but they've got some really good attacking talent. They just haven't quite opened up their scoring yet. Alabama, number 9 in the country right now, going to be playing at Kentucky. Kentucky with 3 ties.
Right.
And then Tennessee going to be going to Mississippi State. And then, of course, 7 o'clock at Ellis Field on Friday night, Ole Miss comes to Ellis Field to play the Aggies.
Yeah, I think that Alabama at Kentucky game is going to be an interesting one to watch. Kentucky, again, another one of those teams that you look at them and you go, that team is going to win some games. And Alabama's struggling a little bit right now. Scored 1 goal last weekend, as did we. And so it's going to be an interesting game, I think, to see how they rebound. They kind of got turned around a little bit against Vandy, but again, that was a 1-0 win coming off that 5-0 loss. So it'll be interesting to see how that game goes this weekend as well.
Yeah, our game against Ole Miss, that's the only Western team against Western team. So a chance for us with a win to move back into a tie for first place in the Western Conference. A chance for us to move up in the overall standings. Last year, we were able to beat the Rebs in Oxford. The last time we played here, they beat us 2-0 on 2 long throw-ins. And
Right.
Radecki, who is number 32 for them, who has a very long throw-in, she's still there. She's I think a 7th-year senior, transfer from Florida State. She's back, and Molly Rouse, who's the new coach there, has tried to come in and change the style that they play with, but they're still dangerous on restarts. They do try to possess the ball a little bit more, but they're a good side. They're tied with us in the overall standings right now.
Taylor Radecki, she is one of those players that's just a little bit scary. And her ability to put the ball, it turned just about everything into a corner kick that's from 20 yards in.
Yeah, and they've got another great goalkeeper, and they're good. They've got a lot of really good athletes. So 7 o'clock, Ellis Field. Hope folks will come out and support us.
Absolutely, against Ole Miss. So wanted to remind you that this copyright broadcast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield IMG College under broadcasting rights granted by Texas A&M University, and reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of Texas A&M University and Learfield IMG College. Announcers are provided by Learfield IMG College and Texas A&M University. For G Guerrieri, I'm David Ellis. Until next week, gig 'em.